Sometimes I get the urge to do like a vlog video, like spend a week with me or like a day or whatever. And then I remember that I'm a chronically ill girl, and it would basically be like, here's me in my pajamas in bed, here's me in my pajamas on the sofa, here's me crying.
Do you ever have the feeling that you would like to find some sort of way of just not existing in your body? Like right now, all I can think about is how much I want to just find a little zipper somewhere on my skin, unzip it, and slip out of my body and just exist as some sort of like floating hazy mist or like a cloud or something, and just be rid of body. I mean, I try every day to be like really thankful and grateful and appreciate my body for what it does for me, and like I do, but then some days it's just too much being in a body. Do you ever feel like that? Do you ever just want to slip out of your skin and just be some sort of like other type of being? Because I do. I have that feeling a lot. I'm having that feeling right now. Like, imagine just being a little floating haze and not feeling like your body has cement in it because of fatigue. Not feeling nauseous and not feeling like everything touching your skin is too uncomfortable. That sounds like a dream to me. I just want to be a little floating haze. This like gently like cool and very like soft and slow moving, and just hanging about in the air, still thinking thoughts, still feeling things emotionally, but just not dealing with the body. But yeah, I'm still grateful for my body. Just having one of those days where I'd give anything to slip out of it.
You are not ready for how gorgeous she is. Can you believe it? So, downstairs taking the dog out, and our back garden is quite wild and unkempt. It's like a communal back garden, and I love it. There's just like tons of trees and hedges and things, and we have some gorgeous roses like just growing out of the hedges. And she must have been hit by the wind pretty bad because she was like hanging off. So we decided to take her upstairs, and she smells so good. She's just been sitting on my kitchen windowsill, making the room smell like my granny's back garden. I love her so much. I love flowers. I'm such a sucker for flowers. And yeah. Have you ever seen anything so sunshine-like? Like, she's just like a big bowl of sunshine. I love her. have a list. I love a list. This here is a list of reading habits I think are very cool. Now, this is just my opinion, okay? And who am I but just some random woman on the internet? So if you don't agree with this, that's absolutely fine. But I thought it would just be fun to share some things that I think are cool. If you're a reader and I see you doing this, I have like more respect for you. These are things that I try my best to incorporate in my reading life as well. So I'm trying my best not to be hypocritical, but also I do admire things that I am simply not practicing. Like there's one on here that is one of my biggest shames, but we'll get to that when we come to it. I have filled that so full of tea. Okay, so reading habits I think are very cool. Number 1, reading backlisted titles more than the current publishing cycle. That shows me that you aren't just fully influenced by marketing and you have your own mind, and I love that for you. Reading in public spaces. People keep saying that this is really performative. But why is reading in public a performance? Isn't all of life a performance? Aren't we all just performing the character of ourselves? I love seeing people reading in public spaces and I get really nosy about what they're reading. Being very picky about which editions you add to your collection. So not just buying for the sake of having, but buying because you're adding to your collection. And sometimes that sucks when you live in the UK and the covers for the US edition, they're beautiful and you're stuck with really ugly ones. Like, that sucks so much. But I think we should be picky about what we're buying, and we're not just having things just to have them. Like, what is the point in that? Not organizing your books by a conventional method, for example, alphabetical or by genre, but by something very specific to you. So maybe you organize them by reading order. Like maybe you have your books organized in things you've already read, things that you want to read, things you're reading next. Or what else? Absolutely not color coordinating your bookshelves. I think I absolutely hate that. I hate it so much. I also really think it's cool if you don't organize your bookshelves in any way at all and you just let chaos reign. Am I saying that because that's what I do? Like, maybe. But I just like putting the books where I feel like they should go. It's not in any particular order. It's just, you know, the energy feels right, or it just happens to be where there's space. But yeah, my shelves are not in any kind of order at all. And I know that will probably freak some of you out, but yeah. Having books scattered about your living space. So having books, yes, on your bookshelf, but also on your dining table, on your coffee table, on your bedside table, like having them in piles on the floor, like random stacks places. Like, I love seeing that in people's flats or apartments or houses or whatever. It feels like a real book lovers kind of thing to do. Like your shelves are too full, or you have them on different surfaces so you can just pick them up and read them. And it feels like there's evidence of you reading if books are just like laid out places. Like I always have a couple on my dining table, and I always have one on my bedside table, sometimes on my coffee table. It's just, you know, it's evidence that they're like, you're like living with your books and you're picking them up and you're reading them, and not everything is like organized and put away. Always having a book in your bag when you're out and about. Loaning your books to friends. I think that's a beautiful practice that we should do. Like, sharing is caring. And I love when people are like, my friends will say to me like, oh, I don't know what to read next, and I'll be like, I have something for you. Like, I love being able to do that for them, and it is the best feeling when they come back with it and they're like, you're right, I love this. Like, what feels better than like knowing someone like that and like sharing part of something that you love, like your books? It feels good. gifting books to your friends from your own collection, bonus points if they're marked up from you reading them. So not just buying brand new books for your friends, but like giving them books from like your collection. I think that's so much more personal and it feels a lot more intimate, especially when it has all your notes in the margins and all your underlinings, which leads to the next point, which is underlining and writing in your books, but specifically in ink. No highlighters and no pencil. I want ink, specifically black ink or blue ink. Yeah, I just think that's way cooler, and this is reading habits that I think are very cool, and I think it's cool if your books are all marked up with black ink, and yes, that is what I do, but I just think it's cool. Spine cracking and dog-earing your books, so if you're happy to crack the spines and turn down pages, I feel like personally treating your books like that, like leaving your mark on them, respects them more than just having them as like this pristine object. Like, I feel like that's not what books are supposed to be. They're not supposed to be something that are, it's not supposed to be something that's like kept perfect. I think that it should show the wear and tear and love and journey that you have with it. So I think if it has like water rings or coffee rings, or, you know, like crack spines and turn down pages and notes all over them, I think that's showing a lot of respect for the book and like the writer's work, because you're living with your books, they're living with you. I'm losing my place. Using anything but a bookmark to mark your place. So I don't ever bookmark any of my books, I just dog ear. If I want to keep my place, I dog ear the top page. If I want to like mark something to come back to, I'll do the bottom of the page. If I'm reading a book that isn't mine, so if it's a loan, I will use something that isn't a bookmark. Like, I'll just use anything, like a receipt, a postcard, a letter, a little picture. I've used dried flowers in the past, just anything that's not a bookmark. I don't like bookmarks. Transferring your marginalia and underlines to a notebook. So after you finish reading your book, taking the time to transpose into a notebook, I think that kind of lets you have some more time with your thoughts, and yeah, it's just a nice way to revisit parts of a book that you really enjoyed. Writing notes on what you've read, so typically after, I know these are things that I think are very cool, and I'm like, these are things that I do, but maybe these are my habits because I think they're cool. So typically after I like transfer my marginalia and my underlines to a notebook, I will write some notes on what I read, and I feel like that's just a nice way to like stay in dialogue with writers and with their texts, and I feel like it helps embed it a little bit more in your mind and helps you like flesh out some of your opinions and your thoughts. And I just think it's a good practice. Like, if you're reading to like really deeply learn, or like to cultivate your own opinions and to learn how to critique, to learn how to think about writing and reading, I think that that's a really good step. Like, if you're just reading for some like pleasure and entertainment and escapism, like, I understand that that might be something that you're not wanting to do, but I feel like if you're wanting to understand things on a deeper level, then noting things in your book, underlining things, then rewriting all of that in a notebook, and then writing some notes, I feel like that's a really good way to be like intimately connected with the texts that you're engaging with. Reading multiple books at once, but not too many. So reading multiple books at once, great. But as soon as you start to cross the line and you're reading too many, like, I do start to question your ability to be attentive to each of these things and to retain. Maybe that's because I can't quite do that, but I would say reading multiple books at once, I would say like 3, 4. I think it's as soon as we get to 5, we're like stepping over that line, and I would class that as too many. That's me personally, my opinion. Maybe you can read like 7 books at once and you're like fully engaged with all of them. I can only imagine what it would be like to have that kind of like divided attention. It will never be me, but yeah, I think it's very cool to be reading multiple books, but not when it's so many that you can't kind of like recall and talk about what you're reading. Being able to distinguish between, oh, this one is so important, I should have put this as at like the top of the list. Being able to distinguish between a bad book and a book you simply did not like, because they are not the same thing. Which leads on to the next point, which is knowing how to critique what you're reading. I find is like really like the coolest thing. Like, I think it's so rock and roll to have your own opinion about things and know that that opinion is based on like analyzing something and like interrogating it, and like even like interrogating your own thoughts on something, not just interrogating the text, but interrogating like your thoughts on the text. Like, why are you thinking that way? What is the context around your thinking? What is the context around the book? Like, I feel like that is the most rock and roll point on this list, is to be able to critique what you're reading. Being in a book club, that's cool. Finding a book yourself through browsing rather than relying on others' recommendations. I think there's something so magic and so special about going to a bookstore and just like browsing through the books and coming across something, whether it's the title or the cover, or you like read a little bit of the blurb and it like draws you in. I think that there's something so special about like you finding something yourself, like you almost feel like you've brought this new discovery into your life through your own hands, than just relying on others' recommendations. Not to say that others' recommendations aren't great, they are, especially when you have people around you that you admire their taste, they know you well, and so if they say, oh hey, you'll really like this book, you know that you're going to have a good time. Like, that's obviously really nice and important to have in your life, and I definitely have some of those friends, but it doesn't really compare to finding something myself and feeling like I've like found this magic myself, and then I get to share it with others. And I always like when someone tells me a story of them just coming across something and it just happened to be the right book at the right time. I think there's something so special about that. Having a favorite novel, and I mean singular favorite novel. I would like to think I'll be able to get to this place, because sometimes I like oscillate between a few books where I'm like, that could be my favorite. But I think it is so cool if someone asks you like, what's your favorite book, and you have a very solidified favorite novel, not a nonfiction, not a collection of poetry, but I want you to have a favorite novel. I think that is very cool. And then similar vein, having a favorite publishing house. I think that shows that you know what you like generally in terms of reading. So instead of just liking like one singular author or one genre, if you have a favorite publishing house, it's almost like you know your taste quite well, and you know the kind of themes that you like, or the forms that you like. I think it's very cool to have a favorite publishing house. Okay, we're almost done. Knowing your favorite passages by heart and being able to recite them. I'm not sure there's anything cooler. And then off the back of that, dropping literary quotes and references just casually in conversation. I try to do this quite a lot with my sister and Shakespeare, because she finds it really funny. This is something that I cannot do, and it is my biggest shame, is that I only speak one language, okay? That I feel a lot of shame about that. And so reading in more than one language is like, to me, I'm in awe of you. Like, I just think that's the dream, really. Like, being able to read an original text and then also read the translations of that text, and then be able to live in that space in between, and you can see all the decisions that have been made in the translation, and you can appreciate the art of translation like so well, because I feel like that is it's an undersung art. It's a really beautiful art that doesn't get enough appreciation. And I think being able to read a text in the original and then being able to read its translations, and just like seeing the choices that were made, and then like having your opinion about that and having a favorite translation, like, yes. Having read a writer's entire body of work. That is very cool. And obviously there's like a sliding scale of coolness, because then it really depends on which author or authors you've read their entire body of work. But having read a writer's entire body, like, that shows a lot of love and respect on your side for that writer, and I love and respect you for that. Reading widely and diversely, so not just sticking with one genre and kind of like dismissing everything else because you think you won't like it. I think it's really important to kind of step out of your comfort zone with reading, and that can be really hard because you don't want it to be a waste of time or money or energy, and I do understand that, but I think that there's really something to be said for like stepping into an area that you kind of are like about, and then the reward that you get when you find something within that you wouldn't have connected with if you didn't push yourself to try something different. And I think it's really easy to get comfortable with reading the same kind of things, and again, this really depends like why you're reading. Like if you're just reading for entertainment and comfort, then maybe like this doesn't apply to you, but I personally think we should do our best to read to try and like build the elasticity of our mind, to like build our ability to like just add perspectives and viewpoints to our experience, because I think it's just like reading just offers you this incredible experience that is hard to get elsewhere, and to choose to do it in a way that you know will be challenging to yourself simply because you have to sit with something that you might dislike. Like I also think it's important for us to just sit with disliking something, and I think this is why I never put books down without finishing them. To me, personally, it's important for me to finish what I've started if I'm reading something. And if I'm reading something and I don't like it, yes, it can be frustrating because I'm like, what am I getting out of this? But then I think, okay, what am I getting out of this? And it's like just reframing that and thinking about it is like a critical exercise. And I get a lot out of that. I'm not saying that you will, but for me, I really do. It lets me interrogate like why I dislike this, why do I find it boring, and then that informs me going forward about what else I want to read, and it tells me a lot about myself as well. And maybe it's all the Virgo placements in me and the diagnosed perfectionism that I don't like giving things up if I've started, because I view it as failing. But I try and reframe that to me just being disciplined. I like discipline. I like being able to sit with discomfort. I think it's important for us to be able to sit with boredom, frustration, and discomfort. And so yeah, I think it's very cool to read widely and diversely. And my final point, and I don't think I'll be taking any criticism on this one, is hating generative AI. I think it is so cool, so chic, so rock and roll of you to hate generative AI, especially within the world of art and literature. And yeah, that's my list. Maybe I'll make another one that's like things I think are really uncool, but maybe, are you allowed to be that much of a hater like on the internet? I don't know. But if you have anything that you would like to add, if you would like to argue with me in the comments, then like go ahead.